Greetings, this is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Welcome to This Week in Prophecy. We got some happenings in modern-day Lebanon, Tyre, ancient Tyre, and Sidon, Beirut. Iran's back in the news, as well as the big BRICS summit that took place in Kazan, Russia. So we'll get started. Joel 3, verse 4. What are you to me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the regions of Philistia? Are you paying me back for something? If you are paying me back, I will return your payment on your own head swiftly and speedily. Now, those of you familiar and not familiar with Joel 3, that's the context of that is God pronouncing judgment on the nations. And the nations are going to surround Jerusalem and Israel and try to take them down. But the whole thing starts in context with Tyre and Sidon and regions of Philistia. So that would be the Mediterranean coast, the Gaza Strip, and to the north in Lebanon. Isn't that interesting? That's where we are in today's world. That's where all the headlines coming out of the Middle East are about at this time. So it is what it is. I think we're there. I think we're seeing the beginning of these things. And we'll take a look at what happened. This is from the Arab spokesman for the Israel Defense Force has issued an urgent evacuation order for the city of Tyre in southwest Lebanon with residents of the city, specifically on the streets of Al-Haram, Ja'afar, Sharaf al-Din, Abu Diab, or Daab, Al-Attar, told immediately evacuate from the area in red and head north of the Awali River. And that's quite a bit north. But the point is, here we are, we have happenings in the ancient city of Tyre, biblical Tyre. And there's the tweet. If you want to see the tweet specifically, had to cut and paste right there. But there's the tweet. And this is from Middle East Eye. Or that was from Middle East Eye. I'm sorry. Twitter as well. Why did that not show up? Editing here on the fly. I'll pull this one up for you. Big mistake made by yours truly. This is in Sidon. Airstrike targeted residential buildings in Sidon. So we had Tyre and Sidon both. That did not translate. That's interesting. Having some fun with software issues, learning this on the fly. An Israeli airstrike targeted residential buildings in Sidon, southern Lebanon, causing widespread destruction and forcing residents to evacuate their homes. The strike resulted in damaged infrastructure and has heightened concerns about civilian safety in the area. Well, the same thing's true here. Pamphlets were sent out by the IDF to people in these areas. Get out of here. We're going to be hitting these places. So this time it's in Sidon, which again is on the Mediterranean coast in what's Lebanon. So we have those things going on. We'll go back. Man. Hezbollah, one of their bunkers, is located under the Al-Sahal Hospital in Beirut. So you can watch this. We have a link provided on this. I will mute this. Had some issues with that. This is Beirut, Lebanon, which is north of Tyre and Sidon, again on the coast of the Mediterranean in what is modern-day Lebanon. So IDF has intel pretty much pointing out, hey, we got some infrastructure taking place under these buildings in the hospital, and lots of money, gold, things being stored. Israel's letting everybody know, hey, we know it's there. we are planning on doing something about it. Of course, if they do something about it, everybody's going to cry about how they're affecting hospitals, which we don't need to be tearing up hospitals. But likewise, you guys don't need to be putting infrastructure under hospitals and other civilian targets, as you guys would see it. So, is what it is. With that, we're going to transition to Daniel 10, verses 13 through 14. However, the prince of the kingdom of Persia, that'd be modern-day Iran, opposed me for 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, or the archangel, came to help me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to explain to you what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision concerns those days. And here we are. Israel went after Iran and effectively took out their air defense systems. Here's a recap of what happened earlier in the week. Israel launched an attack on Iran in the early hours of Saturday, October 26. Explosions around Tehran. Footage from Iran has shown flying objects intercepted by Iran's air defense. Iran said explosions were air defenses being activated. State TV said strikes did not impact Tehran airport's functionality. U.S. said Israel's strike was an act of self-defense in response to Iran's attack on October 1st. Airspace above Israel and Iran have been closed. Iraq has suspended its air traffic. Netanyahu's office released images and videos of him and the defense minister in an underground bunker. Click on this tweet if you want to see more details. And this information was taken from that tweet, so I'll let you know where I got it. Ezekiel 38:39, Gog of Magog, the prince of Rosh, and we'll skip to it, the many nations with you. And it's just wondering, the BRICS, are they part of the many nations with them? And what's coming up in a future invasion, or an attempted invasion, of Israel from the north, led by Gog of Magog, the prince of Rosh, which would be modern-day Russia. So, the BRICS got together in Kazan, Russia this past week, and here's a recap of what happened. Now, first of all, let's just take a look at this little banknote, or a bill, the BRICS bill, they're calling it, denominated in 100. It's not official, but this is a mock or a design of what a potential bill, cash would look like from the BRICS. This is what they did agree on. The notes, and again, this is from the BRICS meeting. Need for reform of global institutions. Bretton Woods international financial systems, including WTO, should be reformed to be better represent developing countries' interests. They're going to tell the West how they should be managing their finances. When it's supposed to be a world system in their defense, it's not. BRICS opposes unilateral, prohibitive, discriminatory, and protectionist measures taken under the pretext of fighting global climate change, including carbon emission adjustment mechanisms and taxes. So they're not down with the Green Initiative. BRICS supports comprehensive reform of the United Nations, including the Security Council, to make it more representative, and notes its centrality in the system of relations between nations. Good luck with that. I would agree the UN needs to be reformed as well. It's a joke. New initiatives. BRICS members recognize the potential of information and communication technologies in bridging the digital divide between nations to aid socio-economic development. They're going to transform the new development bank to serve the needs of the 21st century. And there's Vlad holding the little BRICS bill that we showed you earlier. BRICS supports the creation of a new technology platform to strengthen development cooperation, including by creating high-tech products using domestic technological potential to fuel sustainable and inclusive growth. Boy, that's a mouthful. Now, they are supportive of blockchain technologies and using cryptocurrencies, and maybe I'm sure that's a piece of it. They have talked about that, and they've legalized it in all their countries and allowing transactions, financial transactions, to settle trade. Organization agrees to explore the creation of an independent cross-border settlement and depository infrastructure known as BRICS Clear. I take it this would rival the Western SWIFT system, is what they're getting at, to allow economic exchange and have a medium to do that. BRICS is ready to strengthen cooperation to develop medicines, including vaccines and nuclear medicine projects. Okay. I'm sure it'll be safe. BRICS welcomes the creation of a united transport and logistics platform. Now, that'd be interesting. Probably some ships and rail. Probably rail more than anything else would be, interconnecting all these countries. Declaration supports Russia's proposal to create a grain exchange to promote rules-based trade in agricultural products and fertilizers and minimize disruptions. So the Russian farmer would be the big winner in this situation, because they grow a ton of wheat and would be able to sell it to people all around the world. Expanding cooperation. The use of national currencies for transactions between BRICS members and their trade partners. Okay, so using regional currencies, the ruble, the yuan, and then this BRICS bill, potentially, highlights the importance of expanding cooperation based on common interests and further building up strategic partnerships among BRICS members and continuing to implement the bloc's economic partnership strategy. The bloc welcomes interest shown by countries of the global south towards BRICS. That'd be Africa, is what I'd take. Oh, well, there you go. And calls for greater participation of the least developed nations, especially in Africa, in global processes. So, bring in Africa. Opposing global crisis. Condemns the illegal use of discriminatory and politically motivated sanctions and highlights their negative impact on the world economy. So they're tired of being sanctioned, economically sanctioned by the West. That's what that's all about. BRICS is opposed to the development of weapons in outer space, so they don't have them, or they don't have as many as the West does. Supports strengthening the global non-proliferation and disarmament regimes and implementing a Security Council resolution on measures to prevent weapons of mass destructions from falling into the hands of terrorists. Now, that term terrorist is so broadly defined. And pretty much in today's world, if you disagree with me, you're a terrorist. Okay. Calls for strengthened ties between law enforcement to aid in the fight against narcotics. All right. Bloc members outlined their positions on the Ukrainian crisis and took note of proposals for mediation to bring the conflict to a conclusion through negotiations. BRICS expressed support for Palestine's full-fledged membership to the UN. The declaration condemns Israel's attack on UN employees in Lebanon. Well, if they weren't fighting with Lebanon, and we're not aiding Lebanon, maybe that wouldn't happen. And they condemned the pager terror attack of September 17th. So there's you a good example. Israel's op, where they detonated all those pagers at one time, BRICS considers that a terrorist attack. BRICS welcomes the creation of a Haitian Transitional Presidential Council, an electoral council to resolve the crisis plaguing the Caribbean nations. They want to get over here in the West and tell them how to handle their business. BRICS expresses concern over the escalating violence and worsening humanitarian situation in Sudan and called for a ceasefire, Keep in mind, according to Ezekiel 38:39, arguably Sudan will be part of that group with Ethiopia around the Horn. They're going to join in the invasion of Israel. Declaration criticizes the politicization of human rights and double standards in this area. Like anybody has any ground to be talking about human rights on our planet right now. The document expresses opposition to all forms of discrimination in sports. So, Russia was kicked out of the Olympics for doping, so that's not fair. They also have spoken out against transgender athletes competing against women. They don't see that as fair. So they are going to become the sports czar and make sporting competition fair and equitable. Okay. Here's the link if you want to read this in detail. Also, BRICS added 13 new nations to the alliance as partner countries. So they're not full members, but these countries, they're partner countries. Algeria, Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba. There's a couple there, Bolivia and Cuba in the west. Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Turkey. Pay attention to Turkey. They're supposed to be a member. Well, they are a member of NATO. Well, they may be leaving NATO. They're playing both ends. Vietnam, Uganda, and Uzbekistan. So, quite the little week there in Kazan, Russia. I could have showed you pictures of Vladimir shaking hands with every world leader that got off of a plane. I mean, he was there to meet and greet and looked all leadership-like, shaking hands and smiling and welcome to Russia, and tremendous photo op for him. So, but, to his credit, they're all together. Him and Xi leading the pack. I still wonder if this is going to be the 10-nation federation. Some spin-off where you get 10 nations together. The Daniel statue, 10 toes of iron and clay. Daniel's 10 or Revelation's 10 horns. Hasn't shown up yet. It ain't going to show up in this year because Vlad's in charge. Russia is in charge of the rotation of leadership. So I don't expect to see it this year. Maybe next. Who knows? But anyhow, if you enjoyed this, please feel free to share with others. PaulthePoke.com. Appreciate you guys following along. And see you guys as things develop. And appreciate you following. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.